Hello and welcome. Today we're going to discuss the mysteries of Lucifer and how it relates to Prometheus in the Greek legend, and how to understand this alchemically and on an internal level. There's been a lot of confusion about this topic, and I feel like it would be beneficial for us to take a look into the inner alchemical mysteries of Prometheus and the mysteries of Lucifer, Phosphorus, the science of desire and non-action. And we're going to be discussing how these two archetypes relate in regards to some of the teachings of Samael Yor and Alvin Boy Kuhn from the Gnostic schools, and how to understand this allegory on the path of alchemical regeneration. So first, we have to take a look at the Torah, which is the rota, and the body is the micro, the macro. And the Torah, the rota, is none other than Jacob the Hill Catcher, which is the 12 signs of the zodiac assembled in the form of Adam Kadmon, which is the celestial man. He is the primordial archetype or man's blueprint. And this is what the Torah or the rota will, what Santos has taught us, and this is what it's based on. Now, the body being the micro, the macro, and the 12 zodiac, which manifest in the body, and Jacob being Hebrew for the heel catcher, represents the body in its 12 configurations correlating to the 12 signs of the zodiac. The body is the living temple of the living God. And we know that God is light, and we know that matter is just a manifestation of spirit. You know that spirit has, the deity has split into spirit and matter. And as that spirit being the fire and the matter being the water, that spirit descends into the body. And its goal is to transmute and transform and awaken the 12 zodiac, the 12 internal powers, the 12 creative intelligences, as well as overcome each of the negative aspects of each zodiac. Essentially, it's the Mazzaroth, the circle of animals, or the zoo. Man is the measure of, these 12 creatures or animals combined into 1 and 13 being the product. So we have the 12 zodiac, and then man, or the sun, being the 13th. And we have the 12 cranial nerves that correspond and connect to the 12 nerves in the solar plexus, representing the 12 disciples and their journey. And this is all in regards to the biochemistry of the body, as well as how light manifests into the material realm and as the material realm. So, as we know, the secret of creation is in the wave. So we have Jacob the hill catcher, who is Jacob in the tribes of Israel. Jacob being the symbol of the macrocosmos, as well as the microcosmos, the human body. We're starting at Aries, ending at Pisces. Aries being at the top of the head, Pisces being at the feet. And then the cyclical cycle of nature, having it be a round table, putting the head at the toes. So you're always catching your heels. And we go through the 3 light manifest when it first comes from the absolute, which is the supreme personal entity, Christ or Krishna. It manifests into 3 different aspects of consciousness, or it'd be better to say 3 different functions of consciousness. And it was born in accordance with the sine wave. So if we see how the energy manifests at first, it's I am, Aries. After I am was cognized in Adam Kadmon, the first archetypal being, it then automatically by default, Taurus is activated. I have. Once I am is acquired, that I am is now able to acquire, to have. to have desires, goals, aspirations. This is how deity manifests from the top of the tree of life all the way down to the bottom. Finally, after having acquired the ability to even acquire, manifest the ability to think, Gemini. With these three aspects, the entire creation came into being. The created worlds and the uncreated worlds, because once thought kicked into motion, forms took place. These are the top three manifestations of consciousness, from subtle to dense and individualized. This is how light crystallizes or descends into matter. So the tree of life is more than just the Sephiroth we see here. There's the three invisible spheres of the unmanifested light. We have the Ein Sof, and the Ein Sof Or. These three hidden Sephiroth of the unmanifested realm, plus the 10 Sephiroth, equal to 13. Man, Adam Kadmon, the cosmic prototype being, or the universal father in the Hindu tradition, it would be Manu, the first man created by Brahma. You know, during virtue, esoteric Kabbalist mentions how Kether is the Malkuth of the unmanifest realm. And we have Malkuth being at the feet. Now, in some traditions, Malkuth is moved up a little bit more to where Malkuth represents right below the sexual organs. But nonetheless, Malkuth being the most dense physical realm, we have Kether here at the top, which is the most subtle, as she explains how Kether is the Malkuth of the unmanifest realm. And that unmanifest realm is beyond even Kether, which is I am that I am. Kether is the cerebrum, Aries, at the top of the head, the crown chakra. So beyond this is the abode of Christ, or Krishna, the Father and the Son. From that energy manifests the Logos, or Kether, the Lamb, Aries, I am, the first cognized energy. First energy that ever manifested was personal. I am means being, to have existence, consciousness, and bliss. And that I am comes from a super personal, unmanifest realm beyond the manifested light. And it manifests in the human body and the brain. As you can see, the similar characteristics of the lamb in the brain canal. As well as if you look deeply into this middle picture of the skull, you can see the old man with his hands wrapped around. It looks like an old man, where we get our old man father figure, or Kether, the Ancient of Days. We have Aries, the cerebrum, or the cerebram. We always have Jesus, the Good Shepherd, always depicted with his lambs. And this is showing the creation of torus fields, as well as all the creation of the individual souls. Each individual person has their own cerebrum, their own inner Aries, their own inner I am, their own personal Kether. They have their own manifest inner I am being that manifest, and that light is the first manifestation, or as we say, the Malkuth, the most dense of the unmanifest. And then, of course, we have Malkuth, the physical realm itself, that where we find ourselves, which has the power of all of these Sephiroth, which we have to activate these Sephiroth as well as the 12 zodiac. And the consciousness, or that light, descends and manifests as Aries, I am. Then Taurus, I have. Then Gemini, I think. And this is how forms are created. So from the cerebrum, or Kether, the light descends down the spinal column into the sexual energy centers. Or we could say that the energy of heaven, or the father of creation, manifests souls, and those souls manifest in Malkuth, the physical realm, Yesod being the astral plane, or Garden of Eden. We have to move this up. Think of man being more so like Malkuth being there. To move it up a bit, kind kind of get it corrected. So we have the meaning of Prometheus. Prometheus, we're going to be discussing Prometheus in the light of being that consciousness that descends from Kether down into Malkuth, or the sexual organs, giving us the energy of fire. We know in the story of Prometheus, he's similar to Jehovah. He was creating man in his image in clay. And we know that Prometheus gave humanity, who was created from clay, from the gods, Prometheus being the creator. Humanity was deprived by Zeus of fire, and they experienced drought and not able to have fire, not able to cook, not able to do basic things. Prometheus, seeing this as unjust, went to steal the fire of heaven, steal the fire from the gods, and he took his rod, which symbolizes the spinal column, and took the fire from gods, or the Kether, and descended down into Malkuth, the bottom of the spine. He descends down into the bottom of the spine to give fire to humanity, or the archetypes, the Israelites, in bondage. In this case, to be the humans that he created with clay. And now we know that Prometheus, it is said that Prometheus means forethought, but in Vedic it also is to mean Pramath, meaning to still. So we have two of these, but they both make sense. Prometheus being the light, and then Lucifer, forethought. Forethought being related to intuition, clairvoyance. Now, I know the cerebrum gives the body and the mind access to higher realities. The names of the characters show exactly what they represent. Prometheus, Lucifer, the fire that descends from the top of the cerebrum down into the sexual organs. That Luciferic energy, or Prometheus, is what brings fire down to the created human beings in Malkuth. And with this fire, we either transform that Lucifer, or that urge, the sexual instinct, into Satan or into Christ, or Christus Lucifer. So Prometheus stills the fire in the same way we must still the fire and transmute the sexual impulse. He gives us the ability to. And that emanation begins in Kether, or Aries, the cerebrum, at the top of the head. He descends. The fire descends. Prometheus goes into heaven, stills the fire, brings it down to the bottom of the tree of life where the humans exist in the physical realm. And this happens every day when we wake up and we have the sexual impulse. Lucifer has granted us a bit of his energy. The energy transmutes into forethought, Prometheus being able to, access the higher mind, the inner intelligence that tempts us and tests us and gives us desires to overcome. So Prometheus, being similar to this creation story of Genesis, creates man, Adam, in clay and matter, which means he's the former. He creates the forms, the light. He brings form. And that light, which carries the energy from the topmost Sephiroth, descends into the bottom of the spine to activate the internal archetypes, which are the same way that Moses frees the Israelites, or he goes down to Egypt to liberate them. We have the quote from the Bible. He replied, "I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven. I have given to you authority to trample on snakes and scorpions and to overcome all power of the enemy. Nothing will harm you. However, do not rejoice that the spirits submit to you, but rejoice that your names are written in heaven." In the story, Prometheus is punished by Zeus for giving fire to humanity and is chained to the rock. According to the Samael, that rock represents the rock of sex, Yesod, where we do the work, where we manifest into the material realm and split into dualistic opposites, Adam and Eve's, and we have to cooperate to ability to reascend. Now, to be Prometheus punished by Zeus for giving fire to humanity, he is punished by an eagle which eats his liver. This represents the antagonistic lust that is a barrier to the path of the alchemist. The rock is being chained to desire. We read from Alvin Boyd Kuhn, spirit goes into torpor when first he plunges into this underworld, Matter stupefies his powers and faculties. So Osiris has overcome a stupor and had to be awakened and regenerated by his own son, represented as the Father's own nature, while dead, but revived again. So the soul that had entered this nether earth were termed sleepers in their coffins, prisoners in their cells, or spirits in prisons. So in the same way, Prometheus is chained to the rock, representing the soul descending into physical incarnation, or Malkuth, and being chained to the desires of the senses, only to be liberated by Hercules, the solar hero. Now, Prometheus stills the fire, punished by the eagle. He's liberated by Hercules from the rock, and the rock represents the mysteries of sex. Chained in lust and liberated by Hercules, the energy of Prometheus Lucifer either transforms us into devils or angels, depending on every day when we get that sexual impulse. If we do it to just ejaculate, masturbate, to sleep around, to lust, to create fantasies, imaginations, to have negative intentions, this energy transforms into Satan and is chained to the rock. But when it's liberated and used in the correct way, it's manifested as Hercules or Prometheus Christ, Christus Lucifer. All these archetypes mean the same energy, just depends on how it's used. The internal witness, or the Prometheus or the Lucifer, is there to test the initiate, to test the soul in Prakriti, the physical realm, so that it can leave and to ascend to higher realms. Verse from the Bible: how have you fallen from heaven, morning star, son of the dawn? You have been cast down to earth, you who once laid low the nations. You said in your heart, I will ascend to the heavens. I will raise my throne above the stars of God. I will sit enthroned on the mountain of assembly, on the utmost heights of Mount Zaphon. I will ascend above the top of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High. But you are brought down to the realm of dead, to the depths of the pit. What it's explaining here is how the light descends from Kether into Malkuth. It was once upon into the unmanifested realm of Krishnaloka, and now descends into this realm of misery, where we experience the 5 miseries: pain, premortal existence, death of loved ones, age, loss. And we can transmute these by correctifying our actions, our behaviors, and transmuting this light, this instinctual firepower that Prometheus steals from the gods to awaken the humanity that's trapped in Malkuth, or chained to the rock, or nonetheless chained or in this position where they're without fire. He gives us the impulse to use sex correctly, which is a wonderful gift. Now, Phosphorus and Lucifer. Phosphorus is a component of bones, teeth, DNA, and RNA in the form of phospholipids. Phosphorus is also a component of cell membrane structure and of the body's key energy source. Now, the men's sexual energy is comprised of fructose, amino acids, and phosphorus, potassium, and hormones. These hormones are related, the phosphorus and the potassium related to the cell salts, the 12 cell salts, or the 12 stones. And the phosphorus being the light. It's known that in the sexual energy of both male and female, there's large amounts of phosphorus. Now, phosphorus is the manifestation of bioluminescence in chemical form. From Latinized Greek, phosphorus, from ancient Greek, phosphorus, the bearer of light, the carrier of light. That light is carried within the sexual energy that descends from the top of the brain to the bottom of the spinal column, igniting the ability for the initiate to be either turned into Adam, pure human being, Christ, or Satan. And Lucifer is just the carrier of that, the ability, the carrier of that. So it's kind of hard to get mixed up with, Lucifer being evil, or, is he Satan? That does not matter. It's archetypal. It's talking about internal activities that take place in the cosmos and within the human body. Here's a quote from Samael Weor related to this. The one who whitewashes the devil, meaning Satan, turning it into resplendent and primogenitory state, one who dies in oneself here and now, liberates chained Prometheus. Thus Prometheus pays the individual with abundance, because he is Colossus with power over the heavens, the earth, and the infernos. Lucifer, Prometheus, radically integrated with all of the parts of our being, makes us something distinct, a different and exotic creature, an archangel, a terrific and divine power. So this is the energy of what the purity of mind, emotions, and behavior can manifest. It could take this energy that manifests, that's carried within the light, and that vessel transmutes into the alchemical rainbow body. As you can see, the fire descends from the cerebrum, and it's up to us to use it correctly. We can use it to develop love, chastity, laughter, beauty, service to humanity, in which we activate the Sun tarot card, or we can use it for greed, lust, to masturbate, to ejaculate, to lose all of the phosphorus within us, or the light, and become chained, just like Prometheus is chained. In the same way Adam and Eve are chained in the dungeon, in the same way Alan Boyd Kuhn speaks of this realm being the dungeon, the physical realm, or the tomb. But this tomb is also a womb, because we can birth the inner child or Christ within. The fire or light, the phosphoric light, or Lucifer, that descends into the sexual center, the desire is either transmuted or divulged. If transmuted, it becomes Prometheus, Lucifer, the light bearer, Phosphorus, or the Christ, Christophorus or Christos, Phosphorus or Lucifer, or Christ, all mean the same. So by becoming an alchemist and using this light correctly, we transmute desire into light, Lucifer. The light descends into our being from Kether, I am that I am, manifest into the three different aspects. I am, I think, I have. And as it manifests into the human vessel, into the physical realm, that light gives us sexual power, or the influence to create, the knowledge of good and evil. Lucifer being the shadow, Lucifer's shadow is Satan. Satan being the energy used in a negative way, and that energy can harm ourselves as well as others. And God gave us free will, so we have to use it correctly. If we divulge the energy, we are granted from Lucifer, we're granted liberation, essentially. If we divulge the energy, we are essentially transforming the energy that Lucifer gives us and transforming it into Satan, the negative polarity. So every time we overcome the desire or the orgasm or the negative impulses of the three in the Vaishnava tradition, they say humans are prone to cheating, lying, and stealing. Whenever we overcome these three, or the gluttony, or the desire for pride, this lust or this instinctual energy that is there to tempt us, that light that descends, which is a pure aspect of light that comes down to kind of train us or test us, that instinctual energy then transmutes into light, which is used to gain access into the higher realms, or to just be a good person, for the respect in all matters of being grateful for what we've been given in this life, and be able to use it for the right reasons. Now, the light, fire, or the internal flame, the fire that Prometheus stole, fire has always been paid reference to. The ancient Zoroastrians, the first monotheists, paid reference to fire. The Upanishads said the supreme spirit is seen in the glow of fire and the radiance of the sun. The sun has always been the visible product of an unmanifest invisible intelligence. The glow of fire and the light of the sun is closest we can come to witnessing the spirit of light. So being able to see fire or light in general, we get to take a small peek at the true creator, the eternal creator, which is above Kether. We as humans have the four elements within us. We have our body, the earth, our mind, the wind, our emotions, the water, and the body, earth. And finally, our inner will. And that inner will is the fire within that Prometheus gives us. That sexual energy that's transmuted into chastity and love is cultivating the fire of willpower. And if we can manage to ignite the inner fire, our spiritual flame will purify the gross elements of earth and the water, and transmute them into spiritualized forms, manifesting as bodies of air and fire. Air is a mediating force between the elements and allows them to intermingle. Hence, it's the Holy Spirit. The spirit is the fifth most subtle element, and the way we reach the ether is through the fire of Prometheus, or this Luciferic energy that's given to us instinctually every day. That is why John the Baptist, who symbolizes the baptism of water, says, "The one who comes after me baptizes with fire and the Holy Spirit." So we have to prepare our inner being to become enlightened by the powers of Christ, or the light. the light of the morning star. Jesus says, on the offspring of David, the bright and morning star. It's all talking about the intelligent, loving, personal, intelligent light that descends and allows us to progress on the path. Thank you so much. Bye.